Hi everybody, Radical Gardener. How are you? September 30th? Yeah, Thursday. Larry's at Puppy Dog Camp. He is now there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I pick him up on Sunday. It is very inexpensive, very affordable. He was just real nervous all the time, and it's because he's part hound dog. He needs to run all the time, and wasn't running him. I'm just not physically able to run him, and there's not really anywhere except the dog park to run him. And now 2 out of 6 times I've had him at the dog park, there were some aggressive dogs, and he's so passive and so submissive and sweet, and I feel very protective of him because he is the way he is. He just wants to play. He's the sweetest dog. So I'm just coming up with alternatives. I'm still healing up from some injuries, doing really well, working out 3 times a week with my trainer. He has helped me so much. But I can't ride my tall bike because I have a torn ligament in my groin, which is awful. Never do that. And so, I can't, I wanted to put a lead on that bike and run Larry that way. You can order these leads which actually go to the side of the bike, and the dog can't get in the front or the back of the bike, but the bike is tall, and I felt even if I could get on it, that Larry could actually pull me over. So I sold the other bikes that I had here. I had them here for guests and family, which nobody ever used. They're like brand new bikes. So I sold them for what I paid for them, and I got a 3-wheel. So while Larry's gone, I'm gonna ride my 3-wheel and get really used to it. And I've got that attachment now on the side for Larry, and that should work. He shouldn't be able to pull me over. If he pulls me forward, fine, I don't have to pedal that hard. But so it's an experiment. I mean, if I have to keep taking him to the dog park on the days he's not in the puppy park, I will do that, but I'm not crazy about it. I just gotta say, and I'm pretty protective of my little boy. All right, so Gretchen and I did our 3rd show with Oppenheimer Ranch Project a couple of nights ago, and this was the best one yet. He has, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he's really changed. And it's funny because he said the same to me. And we have known each other for quite a while now, through YouTube and just exchanging emails and stuff. And yeah, we both have come a long way, and gosh, it was just so much fun to talk to him. He's just willing to go anywhere with the conversation. It can be science, it can be woo-woo, it's really fun, And I love being with Gretchen. She's so smart, she makes me look smart. So I will have that link below, so you can go to it and watch it. But I wanted to flush out some ideas before I got onto his show, because we did really talked a lot about frequency and harmonics, and I think it's really important that we understand that this isn't some esoteric concept. And we did talk about this a bit on the show, is that every single thing is a frequency. And if we don't start really acknowledging that, every chair, every disease, every molecule, every single thing is a frequency. And when you apply that to an emotional and spiritual state, you understand how important it is to maintain and to encourage higher frequency. I've changed my mind about many things in the last few months, and one of them is timelines. Everybody talks about, not everybody, but people like us. We talk about timelines, and we're on different timelines. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, there's no such thing as time. What the hell are we talking about? There aren't any timelines. And through these studies that I'm doing through the Paul Selig books, we're on the last one. Boy, these have just, phew, man, you want to be turned inside out for the better. Start on, I don't know how anybody does it by themselves. And Gretchen says the same thing. If we didn't do it together, like I actually read out loud, we go through the books that way. It would be impossible for me to do that by myself. And we're even talking about maybe doing a book study. Wouldn't that be cool? Let me know if you'd be interested in that, where we just get together one night a week. Everybody, gets, there's like 8 books. You start on the first one. Just know we'll be doing it off and on for a couple of years, and help each other to incorporate it. And you don't have to do anything. It's really all about being, but it's what has to be cleared out of the way for that to happen. They were really a gift. I mean, anyway, I know I'm getting off the subject a little bit here, but through reading these books, I'm understanding that each time you're having an experience in life, in spirit, in whatever, it's actually laying down a chord, a harmonic chord. So every experience is registering in your spirit, your zone, your being, a note, a frequency. And so imagine as each experience gives you another chord. And if you could hear your harmonics, your chords, as you grow and incorporate, and as these harmonics evolve and get higher and higher and higher, wow. So it sounds esoteric, but it doesn't. Not if we're understanding that everything is a frequency, right? So anyway, as you know, the way I even got into the books is that I was just feeling so negative because of everything that was going on. And, when you're making fun of people, or you're going, oh my God, I can't believe that person did that, or when you're in judgment, it makes you suffer. And I was done suffering. And I, through the books, I heard loud and clear, judge the act, don't judge the person. Everything is of God. And that's hard when you're just things, when there's a lot of brutal people in the world. So, and the way that it's explained through the books is that, and this is not like, being la-la, believe me, it's about finding one's true divine self, all that we can possibly be. So whenever you're in judgment of anybody, it only comes back at you. It only lowers your frequency. And the other piece of this that we discussed on Diamond's show was fear, and how fear is some of the lowest frequency you can ever encounter. And, I have spent, I'm not a very fearful person, but I have really spent some conscious time and energy over the last few months to look at anything that may be fearful from my past or present, or me looking ahead at the future. There's one that'll get you. And how they lower the frequency. If you are in right here, right now, here we go again. If you are in the moment, there is no fear. There's none. And so that is my goal, right? So anyway, so I wrote this and I want to share it with you. And I called it, and I put it up on my blog, and my radicalgardener.net eventually gets these. we're actually seeing a way where it can, when I post it on my blog, it goes right to my radicalgardener.net. But my YouTube videos go right to radicalgardener.net, so this will be on that. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. It's not very long. Mankind's song to itself, creating a new harmonic world. What will come of the planet? Will we war? Will we find peace? What does it take to decide that things can change? If we look to the higher frequency of a solution rather than ponder in a lower song or an outcome based in fear, we will discover quickly that the answer to any situation is one of a higher accord rather than setting in motion a limited design of what we want. So if we have limited frequency, low frequency, we have a limited imagination, a limited idea of who we are, a limited idea of what the possibilities are, right? So if we stay in a frequency that lives in a higher octave, we move beyond the idealization of outcome to the promise of something other than what may be known by fearful agendas and what we want. To make it simpler, if we live in fear, we will only create a fearful world. So that's why I ask people, well, how do you know how the new world should look? We're all basing it on history, which is all based in fear and lies. So how do you know what the future should look like? We don't have a clue. So we have to do the internal work to bring ourselves up so that we can have the higher thoughts. You have to be the higher self to have the higher thought. There's no cheating here. You can't take a shortcut. What we have seen in the last year is this fear coming to a head. Rationale goes out the window. People cannot hear facts or truth, no matter how many different ways it is communicated. It leaves many walking away scratching their heads, wondering what happened to civilized conversations. This leads to inability to sleep, communicate, to take care of oneself, to laugh, turning neighbors and families against each other. But most importantly, it is causing illness in the physical, spiritual, and mental for the individual, morphing and influencing the collective consciousness. We've all had those conversations where we just walk around and go, did this person just not hear anything that I said? And you know what? They don't. When they're afraid, they don't. You know, I mean, how many times have you had the mask discussion with someone? You go, masks don't work. They go, oh, no, they work. I go, no, microbe, you can't hide from a microbe. That is impossible to hide from a microbe. It will go into your skin. See all these cells, all these little openings, all this porous skin, and go in there. They'll go in your eyeballs, they'll go in your ears, they'll go in those little spaces behind your mask, you know. I mean, you can't hide from a microbe. What are you doing, right? And so, you know, and it's going to cut off 50% of your oxygen, which is a great recipe for cancer. And you're going to have upper respiratory problems. And now you're within a minute, you're breathing in toxicity because the bacteria immediately becomes toxic. I mean, it just no matter what you say, right? You know, or if you're talking about the you know what, and they said, well, you know, they had you know, the C word, they had the C word, and you go, well, there's no test that proves that they had it. You know, they've admitted they can't tell the difference between a cold, a flu, and the C word. And they just can't do it. Or they say, well, you know, so many people have died. You go, well, yeah, they died from the treatment. They didn't die from the disease. They didn't die from the flu. They can't hear it. They can't. They're afraid. So you have to, I mean, you don't have to. You can do anything you want. But where I've gone with it is everyone here is here for their experience. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything wrong. They're here for their experience. They're learning through it. You think those people aren't going to know what the hell they might have done 6 months from now? I mean, there's going to be a big awakening, like real soon. You know, this whole thing like Nicki Minaj and Rihanna, I mean, they didn't count on that happening. You know, the blacks have left the plantation. Between those two girls, you have like 150 million followers. You got the White House calling Nicki Minaj. I mean, that's just the beginning, folks, Anyway, so, they will know. And then what are we going to say? Told ya? No, of course not. We're going to do that. Not if we're loving human beings. We'll say, yeah, I know. Now, here are some remedies that may really help you. Let's talk about living in the solution now, All right, so moving on. With our collective consciousness, I gotta make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah, so in the last sentence was, but most importantly, it is causing illness in the physical, spiritual, and mental for the individual morphing and influencing the collective consciousness. So as individuals, we're having these fears. So what is that doing? That's creating a fearful collective, okay? With our collective consciousness in tow, we can see that we are in times of great change. What has been buried is revealed. In times of great change, what was erected on faulty ground tumbles away. In times of great change, the identity we have held, the mask we have worn, the chains to history, government, man-made laws are ripped from us in some ways because we so readily hold on to them, thinking we require them to continue to be as we are as a society, even though it has been built on lower frequencies, aka lies, right? So there's all these things we're trying to hold on to, but they're not any good for us. Let go of them. We're seeing a lot of things imploding that don't serve us very well, but you still kind of want them there. They're familiar, right? Not going to happen. It's all going to fall apart. We're creating a new world. We are sung to in every moment through our true divine expression. Our expression now is about to shift in ways that we will know and see through our experience. We need to be prepared for a new sky, a new world, a new song to be sung by humanity's lips, seen with humanity's eyes, and experienced through the senses that have been afforded a higher frequency to what has always been true. It's time to get to the truth. What has made this difficult until now is that the magic cannot be created in an ego or an egoic lower frequency, because in this frequency, we are condemned to the octave that our reality is created in. In other words, if we are used to singing a song in A flat, it will be sung there and not in the higher key until the higher key is claimed and known, until you know who you are, until you claim who you truly are, not based in lies. Then the reawakening of the song from the higher is an effortless expression. With an awakened song, the manifest world is not what we might perceive it to be. It is a vibratory tone of alignment that is brighter, that is finer, more brilliant than our ego self has been able to be privy to. Because of our limited perception, it is difficult, not impossible, for us to re-articulate or realize how big, connected, loving we truly are. Individually and or collectively, we are all singing, but we cannot hear each other because we have been singing a song of separateness, not one of inclusivity. When we can begin to hear each other's song, tune, harmonic, or sound and appreciate it for what it is when we can create a web of a deep harmonic field where we can truly communicate. Everything is frequency, everything. The chair, the pets, the house you live in, politics, your feelings, the sky, everything, everything. If we can remember that every single thought that we have is part of a symphony, a composition made up of life, times of experience, the richer, more beautiful the symphony will become. I believe it is how we may see our way clear of humanity singing in dissonance chords. It is really quite simple. Our way out is to listen, observe, release judgment, and understand that every single quark in the universe is humming a harmonic song. Through this awareness, we will begin to hum to a different frequency. Frequencies that will lead us to solutions that we could never imagine. Lead us to a great harmonic choir sung by humanity. Lead us to the highest frequency of all, the frequency of love. So everybody, from my garden to yours, Radical Gardener, you know I'm sending you a ton of love. All right, see you soon. Goodbye.